Well, hello everybody, it's Richard here. Welcome back to my channel, and relax and enjoy the next few minutes when I'm going to be talking about a number of things to update you about what's been going on in my world and also the greater United Kingdom world in terms of coronavirus and COVID-19. So I'm going to start off with the list I've got here. I think we'll start off with the government briefing this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Every 5 o'clock, every day we have a briefing from the government, and today the Minister Grant Shapps, who's the Transport Secretary, was the chap who was giving us his update, along with Professor Van Tan, who is the Chief Medical Officer as well, and they were telling us about what's been going on in terms of the COVID, and also members of the public were asking questions as well as the press. So to date, well, today's the 14th of May 2020, and there have been 33,614 deaths to date. That's an increase of 428 as of today as well. 11,000 people are in hospital. That's a 40% reduction in a week ago, and the total number of tests is 126,000 since the 14th of March, and so basically, 126,064 since for today. That's today's number. That's 2 million overall since the start of the testing. So to get that right, and there are 3,446 cases of COVID-19 cases to date in the UK. So we're still at level 4. There are 5 levels. Level 1 is the lowest level, and level 5 is the highest, and we're at level 4. With any luck, we'll be reducing to level 3. It's yes, I mean it's we've still got some way to go, and so it's important that people still stick to social distancing, and also to the measures that the government have put in place. Certainly seemed a little bit less traffic about today, I noticed when I was out and about, and I took my Fiat Spider 124 around the block to give the engine a bit of a run. It's about a week ago now, and there definitely seemed to be less traffic. It was about 4:30, 10 to 5, and normally that's about the time people come out of work, and I did notice that the streets seem to be there seemed to be less about too. It's been a rather nice day today, actually. Though it's been cold, about 10 degrees overall, the sun has been out, so as long as you keep out the wind, it's actually been quite pleasant on that note. So anyway, that's what the government is saying, COVID. There's been some discussion in the press today, I haven't got the paper with me at the moment, about Boris Johnson possibly misleading Parliament in saying that care homes, as you know, the ones that are taking the brunt at the moment, that there wasn't actually any need for testing early, because the likelihood of COVID-19 being in care homes was quite low. I think that was slightly taken out of context, having read the Telegraph. At that time, what he was saying, that was the case. In fact, with my work that I've been doing with care providers, certainly we had notices on doors to say to people, if you've been to any of those countries affected by COVID-19, then you should refrain from coming in. It wasn't a total lockdown, and there was actually hand sanitizers, and but we hadn't got social distancing at the time. So I think Sir Keir Starmer possibly was taking that paragraph slightly out of context, but that's politics for you. Just moving on, so yes, the garage photos I posted yesterday. I haven't done anything to the garage today in terms of paint, so remember I've got to reorder that royal red, and it's on its way from eBay. There wasn't any available on Amazon, so that's on its way, and I've been informed that it's be here in the next few days. The lamps that were outside, the coach lamps that are outside, I'll post some pictures of that, because I have now put them up. The one that I got on eBay, that was a replacement for the one that was completely seized on those back screws, I think what's happened, because it was as though it's the same type and looks exactly the same, the hole where the bracket goes is in a slightly different place, so the lamp sits slightly lower on the fascia board, so I've got to take it all down tomorrow and then raise the bracket up the fascia board slightly. Not a big trouble, it's just a bit fiddly, that's all. But otherwise it's very similar. The wiring is slightly different to where the cables are attached, but I can cope with that, and that's not a problem at all. And so I've got one up, which is the original old one, the first old one. I've refurbished that, and as you saw yesterday, I used some Hammonite silver smooth paint, and I've now put that all back together. And also I've put a piece of tape, reflective tape on there that I had from one of my cars, which is that tape you use on exhaust, which is is to protect for heat. And so it's because it's very shiny, it would give a little bit extra reflection there. And the lights, the Edison bulbs, are really nice even in the daylight, so I'll fiddle around with that tomorrow. Otherwise I've been putting those little sedums in, and I'll post some photographs for you so you can see what they look like, and to get that bank, sort of protect the bank a bit, and that should be quite helpful too. The other thing that I've done is that I've used the auto gleam on patio, so I've cleaned the soft top roof. I used the procedure that they suggested, so that means I had to clean the car anyway slightly because of all the sort of like sap from the trees and all the dust and everything we've had recently. So I cleaned the bodywork, and then afterwards I made sure that I wet the top nicely. I then sprayed on the cleaner, and then rubbed it in with that little sponge, and then once that's dried off a bit, I then sort of slooshed it off with a low pressure hose, sprinkler thing I've got on my Hosel-Lock hose, and then use the protector, and then you just wipe any overspill off the paintwork and then let it dry. So that's what I've done. It looks very nice actually. It'll be interesting to see how it gets on, but I'm really pleased with it so far. And the little sponge was quite helpful, so I've posted a few pictures so you can see exactly what it looks like. So there's a video that follows me talking and the tune of the day, and that's the Columbia 100 motor. There is a slight health warning with that, in that there's a slight hum, and that's been picked up by the light that I attached the microphone to, thinking I was being very clever, and it's picked up the 240 volt cycle, 60 seconds cycle, and you can hear a mains hum. I do apologise for that, and I hope it doesn't destroy your viewing too much, but you'll see the motor running. The only thing is there is a slight health warning also, because it looks as if it's all been done and dusted. In fact, when I tried to tighten the spring even further, it then started slipping. So I think there is still a problem which I'm still looking into, but I'll keep you posted about that. Otherwise, it's working perfectly well. So, okay, so there are the things I was going to mention, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Right, tune of the day is this record here on the Columbia label, DB3537, and this is a record that belonged to my mother. I Can't Resist Men. There's no reflection on my mother's choice, by the way, when she chose my father, but Glynis Johns is on here with the Ray Martin Orchestra, and you'll notice there's some writing, do not play for mats, and that means that my mother used to be a projectionist at either in Ashford or Folkestone, I can't quite remember, but this record was produced in 1954, and so when the cinema had finished with the records, these records were normally played in the intervals, either when you're coming in or when the interval between the different reels, there'd be two films, either a movie and a B movie, and so this wouldn't be played in the matinee. So when they had the matinee, it was written on in this. It's like I suppose it's like a crayon on there. Do not play for mats. So she'd know not to play this. And what happened was that when the story goes that when the cinema had finished with the records, because they were no longer in vogue, they would give them away to the staff, and so she got one of these. The B side is Always You, and again it says on Do Not Play with Mats on there. So it's a bit of a history, my own personal history, the McIntyre history. So I'll play that. But Glynis Johns, of course, is quite famous. She's only recently passed away, I think about last year, and also she was in Mary Poppins. You may remember her from then. Votes for Women she was doing in the John's household, and she does that lovely one. She marches round the house going, "Votes for women," and you know, so that's what I remember her from. But she was quite a bit of a bomb, a bit of a sex bomb, I suppose is the right way to call her. But she was quite famous, and this is quite a nice record. This reminds me a lot of Marilyn Monroe, who I'm quite fond of, actually. I don't know whether she's done this number, but I've got a lovely tape of her, so with her singing as well. So I might play that at some time. But anyway, I hope you enjoy that. Yeah, that's Glynis Johns for you. Otherwise, I think things have been fairly busy. I've been busy at doing work from here in this office and enjoying the sunshine out there. As I say, late this afternoon, getting those sedums in. Haven't been running today. We'll be running tomorrow, and so catching up with things. I got to the end of Normal People, the BBC programme that was being screened with half-an-hour slots there. And if you haven't watched that yet, I definitely recommend you watch it on Catch Up on BBC. It seems to me that every single episode consists of them having sex, but that just may be me. It's more about what wasn't said at this couple as they progress from teenagers to adults. So what they call a coming of age drama. But I thoroughly enjoyed it otherwise. And yes, and also watched the First Dates Hotel yesterday evening on Catch Up, and that was very entertaining. I always like that one where they go and sit by the sun, and the social interaction always amuses me quite a lot. What else is coming up? I was going to watch the one with Leveson Wood about the elephants, but I can't find it on Catch Up, and I couldn't find it in the back papers, so I think it's eluded me somewhat, but I was looking forward to that. But and also yesterday I watched the Sewing Bee. If you've been, that's quite an interesting programme, similar to the Bake Off, similar to several other formulas that they have, but quite enjoying that. And as I do on Friday tomorrow, I'll be watching Gogglebox as well. I think the Real Marigold Hotel is on tonight, so I might watch that. That always amuses me. That's about the third series, and so yes, and Sandra, I can't think of her name now. One of the designers is on there. I find her quite amusing, and because one of my relatives went to the Caiad in Maidstone, and so she was I think she's one of the patrons of that particular thing as well. So yeah. So anyway, I whittle on. Thanks very much for your comments, and do keep them coming. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, the usual stuff. Also press the like button, and also don't forget to press the little bell so you know the next time I'm broadcasting, and do share as well if you want to. But until tomorrow, stay safe, see you all soon, and take care for now. A tune a day keeps the coronavirus away. On the Columbia label, I Can't Resist Men, sung by the one and only Glynis Johns. Enjoy.
I can't resist men. Do without them. Weak ones or strong, the right men or wrong, I don't mind. Here in my arms they all have charms. I'm so fond of men, can't resist men. I love them all, then. Easy to date, that's been my fate. From the age of 10, I can't resist men. I'm a girl with a secret worry, not what I seem to be. Got to change my life in a hurry, make up my mind, you see. For I'm under the spell of a soldier divine. I want him for mine, wouldn't you? Yet if truth were to tell, I'm not single-minded. Another man has blinded my view. How can I be sure my feelings are quite pure when I can't choose between resist men. Can't do without them. Weak ones or strong, right men or wrong, I don't mind. Here in my arms they all have charm. I'm so fond of men, can't resist men. I love them all. Then easy to date, that's been my fate from the age of 10. I can't resist men.
It's Richard here. Welcome back to my channel, and this afternoon, as it's pouring hard with rain, on the 29th of April 2020, it's 13 degrees, and so what better way to spend an afternoon than tinkering around with some of my gramophones. So instead of giving these videos a title, project whatever, I just thought I'd tell you about the Columbia gramophone motor that I've taken out of an old Columbia 119A, which is now acting as a planter for some plants, and if I find a photograph of that, I'll put it on there. It's a double spring box motor, and I've been doing some work on it over the last few days. I've left it to soak in some solvent to get rid of all the old oil and grease and that, and so I'm now at the point where I'm going to be putting it back together and see whether it works or not, which is always a good challenge if nothing else. So I'm going to take you off the stand and then show you what's actually happening. Just stay with me a second as I remove Mr. GoPro Hero. Let's go with, okay, so let's just move that there, excuse the cable. So yes, so here we have, these are the two halves of the same thing really. We've got the spring box, which is here. These two parts normally fit together like that, and then they go onto a spindle, this main spindle here, and then join up with all the other work. So this afternoon I've removed all the, not this afternoon I hope to say, for the last few days I've removed all the old grease and soaked it out and cleaned it out with a paintbrush, large paintbrush, and I think this size one, let me just show you, yeah, this size one. And so at the point now where I'm going to see whether it works, and then if it does I'll then add some more grease. So it's a double spring, so when one spring's working then the other spring takes over. So I'll do that and then I'll be back with you. Hold tight. So I put the whole thing back together again now, including making sure that the governor, that little thing with the balls there, this is the governor's in place. Also I've added some grease. I've just temporarily screwed together the two large springs as they fit on top of each other with these large cocks. So the next thing I'm going to do is to give it a winding and then see whether it works. I've added a little bit of oil. You need to know that there's a what I call it, a felt bearing in here, which allows that to run, and then there's some other bearings inside. If I turn this on its side, you can see that. So yeah, so this is the governor here, which spins nicely. So I put some small, I use some very light graphite oil, not WD. Never use WD, it will go gooey after a while and clog up your system for you. I've also added some, where are we? Oh, let's go over here. So there's a small bearing here that you need to make sure that's plenty of grease on there, and this bearing here, this large bearing here, needs some as well. So all the energy will now be stored by using the winding handle, and then once I've done that I'll come back to you and we'll see whether it actually will go. So I've now wound, not fully, but wound as much as I dare, because it's not inside the motor board, which is this bit that's got to be cleaned up, so I'll keep it not inside a gramophone. So don't forget, this is a gramophone motor that I should keep as a spare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the turntable on, which is this thing. There. There we go. And I've got a screwdriver just in the hole there, up with, here we go. It's not bad going, is it? It's quite strong, quite a big. Okay, if I take that off, you can see that better now. See the hole working now. And the spring is going around. We've got two spring boxes here, the first spring and the second spring. So first spring, there we go. The second one's now clicked in. Then you pack them with grease, otherwise they make that terrible clunking sound. So that's going around. They work together. There we go. Releasing their energy. And then if I come around this side, see, there we go. And the visual bit is that the governor is going. This here is the brake controller. So if I push this out or in, one or two, I think it's that way. There we are. If I go that way, that would be slowing it down to the 78 speed. And that would, obviously that's on full speed at the moment, so it would normally be going much slower. So the energy is released slowly then. And then this is the main shaft, and as you saw earlier, the turntable fits on top of it. So all in all, it's now working. Though it's only been partially put back together, I haven't tightened everything down. So the next job is to tighten it all up, and then it will be ready to go when I need a double spring motor. Okay, thanks for watching, see you all soon.